Welcome to the SEC podcast, the original SEC versus Big Ten podcast. We're here, Ron from Oakland, live from the streets of Oakland. Greetings to everyone. We haven't been on the podcast in a while, and there's many reasons why, but we're here today. Week 7 is finished. We've seen some big games. Last time we seen you, last time we dropped any ratings, we've seen Oklahoma and Texas play. We just seen Oregon and Washington play, and now we're looking at who is adding in the scheduling. You're seeing Arizona play bigger now. They're going into the Big 12. You're seeing Colorado exceed expectations. They're entering into more wins than predicted by Vegas, which was 3.5. They're already at 4-2, 4-3 already. So what we want to do is we want to focus right now because we're hoping to get Robert Lamar back on the show if he can show up from hiding. But his USC Trojans got thumped yesterday on the road against Notre Dame, playing Big Ten football. And we're looking at the landscape right now. We have Oakland, Oklahoma, and Texas going to the SEC. We have Oregon, Washington, and USC and UCLA going to the Big Ten. Then you have the rest of the Pac-12 that's being dispersed elsewhere. Of Texas and Oklahoma that yet. The pundits will say yes, they are ready. The pundits will agree with anything of the prisoner of the moment. But there's a difference when you're playing one SEC game, two SEC games versus 8 or 9, and or maybe even 10 or 11 like 2020 Alabama and Florida. They look good. Oklahoma looks really good. They look like a top 10 team. Texas still looks like a top 10 team. And their schedule, they shouldn't lose any more games until they see each other again. That's the only thing we could go off for right now. They look really good, though. Texas has been impressive at times. I think they still have a little struggles. They have definitely the size. They do have speed, but we're going to see more. Beating Alabama early on. This has come. It's great. Texas looks great. Welcome to the SEC. It'll be official in less than a year. The bigger game of this weekend that just happened after we saw Texas, Oklahoma was Oregon at Washington, which has been a big rivalry for a little while. The winner is usually the home team. And once again, the home team won. Washington looked really good. Robert Lamar has been telling me for a while that Washington wide receivers might be the best core in America right now. And they definitely played that way. Dan Lanning's, and that's just exactly what happens when you're a young coach. You didn't hire him for instant gratification. You hired him to build a program through the eyes of being a former Georgia assistant, and you're there to recruit. You're there to take Oregon to the next stage. And if you're not able to perform by year 4 or 5, then they're ready to Oregon is the dynamic. And Oregon look like they're okay. They show competent offense, and they're showing some level of defense and special teams. But the biggest shocker to me is, once again, Lincoln Riley is proven to be a trash coach. And the reason why I call it trash is because it's not really is disposable. It's a joke when you look at the type of layer of football that he's playing, and the low football IQ heads will also say, well, he needs to fire his DC. He needs to get another defense. Show me an air raid level offense that has an elite defense on any level of football, and it doesn't exist. He who runs the ball can stop the run. That is the gospel of the NFL since before black and white TV existed, before NFL games were on TV. He who runs the ball best can best stop the run. Lincoln Riley's defense is predicated on his offense. That's what we call in the SEC, as Billy Napier likes to state, complementary football. That means you play an offensive style that allows your defense to thrive, and your defense plays a style that your offense is allowed to thrive. That means you're playing all levels of defense and offense at a high level, and you're predicated on what? Dominating the line of scrimmage, something that Lincoln Riley does not do. Nor is he a great recruiter, as I might add. He inherited a program handed to him by Bob Stoops, and he just cruised with Lamborghini. He didn't make it better. He didn't increase the value. He left that program in the same condition that he left it, that he inherited it. He didn't and he didn't do anything. You all are going to say what? That Lincoln Riley is a top 10 coach? Well, you're out of bounds. Lincoln Riley is an overrated coach. Lincoln Riley is not a very good coach. He's a good offensive scheming, and he's good for a high school level offense, G5 program. He could win a G5 championship. He was in the AC. If he was at Memphis, or now UCF is in the Big 12, so I'm sure he didn't want to stay at Oklahoma going into the SEC. That offense doesn't play. He doesn't really run the ball. That's why he can't maintain the lead. He can't run the ball when he's supposed to run. He can't maintain converting first down. The struggle is there. It's not really – it's what it is. And so we're going to keep looking at this. We're going to dive into more of SEC and Big Ten. But if you're UCLA, you should be happy with the build. You're on a slow build. You got a freshman quarterback. They're only going to get better. If you're USC, you're going to say, this is the easiest it's going to get for Lincoln. And the schedule just gets harder for the rest of the year. It is not going to get easier when it gets to the Big Ten. If you're in Oregon and Washington, you're looking at our chops against USC. If you're Texas, you're saying, well, we beat Alabama. We were close with Oklahoma. We just have to finish Oklahoma. If you're Oklahoma, you hold serve. You say, okay, this is momentum going to the SEC. We could get into the playoffs if we win out. So that's the idea here. That's what we're talking about. That's where we're at. We're at past that midway, and now the teams are more clear. Who is actually good, who is actually not. We're going to drop the top 25 soon of the championship experience minds. We're going to drop in on the roll-up in Florida, who covers Florida State, and Miami football. We're going to talk a little trash as a fan, and we're going to get on there. We're going to post it on this podcast as well. So as you get close, some schools are going Penn State to talk about. We have USC against Utah to talk about. I believe Oregon and Washington are on their byes. Texas, Oklahoma just got off their bye. Florida and Georgia where it is. So it's going to have SEC East. All right. And they lost them LSU at home, but they beat Kentucky by the breaks. Ever since that fake punt, they took over the game. I was watching 14-0 thinking, oh, Kentucky's going to run this. And then all of a sudden, pandemonium. It was crazy. So congratulations to the Missouri Tigers. They definitely are a top 25 team right now. They've earned that win. That was a big-time win. I don't know if Kentucky exposed their whole playbook against Florida because it was coming. LSU spanked Auburn, as suggested. LSU's defense is getting more physical. They're looking more like an SEC team. They're warming up right before the Alabama game per usual, but they do have a couple losses that are setting them behind. So they're at a must-win state right now. And so we're going to dive into it more deeply within the next couple of days. We're going to get back with you on this. But we just want to just say right now, there's Michigan, Ohio State still have something to prove. They still look like they're a playoff caliber team. Florida State, I still need to see more out of them. I haven't seen a complete game from them yet. but they are dominating food, which has shown a large improvement as a program. Notre Dame is still in the top 25 by a big home game against USC. USC, Southern California, I'm not sure if they should even be ranked right now. That's what we're going to have to check the model and see what they feel about that. Georgia's still the top team in America. Washington, North Carolina is looking great. North Carolina's looking great. They have to prove a lot, though. Louisville dropped the ball on the road. Alabama is starting to find their identity, and their defense is getting stacked. It's looking good. So Utah, they have a lot to prove on the road against LA this week. Well, it's going to be a night game, so they have time to prepare. The atmosphere should be live. Top 20 matchup right there. That's what it's looking like, folks. So we're going to get back with you. Just want to drop a little something. This is how it's going so far. Chaos Ladder is part 1, and we're just going to talk about it a little more and dive into detail later. Thank you all for joining us. This is Ron from Oakland, live from the streets. Have you